The views and opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Brooklyn Station LLC, brooklynstation.com, KingandQueenRadio.com, or any of its affiliates. The information provided is for informational and entertainment purposes only.
I don't want a Happy Meal!
I want an angry meal!
I want some stupid Happy Meal!
If I want toys, I can go and buy them!
Yeah, I don't want a stupid toy, I want a weapon!
I want a switchblade with my meal!
Yeah!
During Trump's presidency, how many news stories there were about Trump and his weird obsession with his daughter, Ivanka. He's like, got the hots for his daughter. Look how he touched her waist at the Republican National Convention in 2016. Remember? Didn't you read a bunch of this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The media love this story. Like, he's creepy. He's a perv. There's something between him and the daughter. How many stories have you read about Joe Biden and his daughter? Approximately
0.
none, because the media has run full cover for Joe Biden on what was in the contents of his daughter Ashley's diary. Now, this diary was stolen by ne'er-do-well and then marketed to people like James O'Keefe, who also now is potentially in trouble with the law, though it's not illegal for a journalist to take stolen goods and publish them. The New York Times did it with Sarah Palin's emails. What's illegal is if the journalist is in on the theft, pays for it, encourages it, that kind of thing. So far, there's no evidence of that that's been made public about James O'Keefe, and he denies having done it. But I go back to the criminal case involving the ne'er-do-well. It was some woman allegedly, potentially involved in drugs or some sort of nefarious behavior in some house where Ashley Biden had been staying, and this person found her diary and then marketed it. And the diary was extremely incendiary. The contents of the diary were extremely incendiary. And there was a period of time where we didn't know whether it was hers. But then as the case went on and the FBI was involved and they indicted, the DOJ indicted the thief and alleged that this was the Biden diary, we covered it here on this show. We did it carefully and we did it responsibly, but we covered it. Just as the media would have way sooner in this course of events had it been an Ivanka Trump diary that said anything, never mind what was in the Ashley diary. And what we have today is an update to the story because this defendant is about to be sentenced. And Ashley Biden herself wrote to Judge Laura Taylor Swain on April 8th to say she will not be attending the criminal sentencing for the woman who stole her diary, but she, now she has been sentenced. But she wanted to write a letter about why this woman should get jail time. And the judge just unsealed that letter received from Ashley Biden. This was at the request of the New York Times, which really wanted to see what Ashley Biden was saying. Has the New York Times reported about the diary or the letter? No, they haven't. They're not reporting on the content. So no, so they're still running cover.
It was a catch and kill for the New York Times.
Apparently they still had a letter, didn't find it was interesting. Okay, she wrote things like, I am deeply saddened that I even have to write this letter because my personal private journal was stolen and sold for profit. And she goes on to say, please throw the book at her. Now, here is what the diary says, among other things, previously reported by the MK show. This is, let's see, dated 1/30/2019. I've always been boy crazy. I remember pulling up my skirt in second grade and showing the boys my underpants. Hypersexualized at a young age. Hypersexualized at a young age. What does this do to? Was I molested? I think so. I can't remember specifics, but I do remember trauma. I remember not liking the name of some unknown last name house, their house. I remember somewhat being sexualized with Caroline. We don't know who that is, but there is a first cousin named Caroline to her. I remember having sex with friends at a young age. Showers with my dad, probably not appropriate. Being turned on when I wasn't supposed to be. And then she goes on to call her mother not emotionally available, and so on. So here is the daughter of the sitting president saying she thinks she was molested when she was a child. She remembers the trauma, though not the specifics. In searching for said specifics, she mentions inappropriate showers with her father and being turned on when she wasn't supposed to be.
Mark Levin, an influential conservative commentator, has recently sent ripples through the political landscape by revealing what he claims to be the final U.S. government secret about how presidents are controlled. This stunning disclosure, a culmination of decades of political discourse, debates, and speculation, has opened up a window into the murky inner workings of American governance. Levin's revelations not only question the integrity of the presidency, but also the broader framework of U.S. democracy. This event, filled with intrigue, points to a sophisticated, concealed mechanism within the government that, according to Levin, has been designed to influence and control the highest office in the land. The implications of such a claim extend far beyond the current administration, shaking the very foundations of how Americans perceive their government. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. At the heart of Levin's expose is the assertion that presidents, once in office, are not as free and independent as the public is led to believe. According to Levin, a shadowy coalition of government institutions, intelligence agencies, and powerful elites exerts substantial influence over the commander-in-chief. This is not a new concept in the realm of conspiracy theories, but Levin's insistence that this control is deeply embedded within the structure of the U.S. government has brought the idea into sharper focus. What makes Levin's revelation particularly significant is that it is not merely a rehashing of old suspicions, but a detailed account that seemingly ties together disparate elements of government actions, decisions, and events over the years into a coherent narrative. One of the core components of this secret system, as Levin describes, revolves around the intelligence agencies, including the CIA, FBI, and NSA. These organizations, originally established to protect national security, are now alleged to play a critical role in manipulating presidential decision-making. According to Levin, these agencies collect and compile vast amounts of information, not only about potential foreign threats, but also about the president himself. By leveraging this data, these agencies can influence or outright control the policies and decisions coming out of the White House. This method of control, which Levin refers to as a deep state stranglehold, ensures that no matter who is elected, the president remains tethered to a predetermined agenda. When a president begins to drift from the established narrative or threatens to implement policies that go against the interests of the deep state apparatus, this data can be used to subtly or overtly push them back in line. Levin argues that this practice has been refined over the years, with intelligence agencies and certain political operatives perfecting the art of soft control, ensuring that presidents remain compliant without the need for overt action or public scandal. This raises significant questions about presidential autonomy and the true nature of power within the U.S. government. If the president can be controlled through such mechanisms, then the democratic process itself becomes questionable. What good is an election if the person who wins is ultimately constrained by unseen forces? Levin's argument implies that voters, regardless of their choice at the ballot box, are electing figureheads rather than leaders. The policies that presidents promote and enact are not truly their own, but those of the hidden elites pulling the strings behind the scenes. Levin paints a grim picture of a democratic process hijacked by a powerful few, leaving the American public largely in the dark about who truly governs them. He points to several key moments in American history as evidence, from the controversial assassination of President John F. Kennedy to the Watergate scandal and even more recent political controversies. Levin contends that these events, while often explained away as isolated incidents or the result of rogue actors, are in fact part of a broader, coordinated effort to maintain control over the presidency. These moments, according to Levin, are markers of a system that reasserts itself when necessary to maintain the status quo.
The following is taken from a leaked top-secret document, Operations Research Technical Manual TWSW 7905.1. The following document, dated May 1979, was found on July 7, 1986, in an IBM copier that had been purchased at a surplus sale. This document is the doctrine adopted by the Policy Committee of the Bilderberg Group during its first known meeting in 1954. Minimum resistance to control. Destroy the faith of the American people in each other. Experience has proven that the simplest method of securing a silent weapon and gaining control of the public is to keep the public undisciplined and ignorant of the basic system principles on the one hand, while keeping them confused, disorganized, and distracted with matters of no real importance on the other hand. This is achieved by 1. Disengaging their minds, sabotaging their mental activities, providing a low-quality program of public education in mathematics, logic, systems design, and economics, and discouraging technical creativity. 2. Engaging their emotions, increasing their self-indulgence and their indulgence unemotional and physical activities, by unrelenting emotional affrontations and attacks, mental and emotional rape, by way of constant barrage of sex, violence, and wars in the media, especially the T.V. and the newspapers. 3. Giving them what they desire in excess, junk food for thought and depriving them of what they really need. 4. Rewriting history and law and subjecting the public to the deviant creation, thus being able to shift their thinking from personal needs to highly fabricated outside priorities. These preclude their interest in and discovery of the silent weapons of social automation technology. The general rule is that there is a profit in confusion. The more confusion, the more profit. Therefore, the best approach is to create problems and then offer solutions. Diversion summary. Media keep the adult public attention diverted away from the real social issues and captivated by matters of no real importance. Schools keep the young public ignorant of real mathematics, real economics, real law, and real history. Entertainment keep the public entertainment below a 6th grade level. Work keep the public busy, with no time to think, back on the farm with the other animals. Consent, the primary victory. A silent weapon system operates upon data obtained from a docile public by legal, but not always lawful, force. Much information is made available to silent weapon systems programmers through the Internal Revenue Service. See Studies in the Structure of the American Economy for an IRS source list. This information consists of the enforced delivery of well-organized data contained in federal and state tax forms, collected, assembled, and submitted by slave labor provided by taxpayers and employers. Furthermore, the number of such forms submitted to the IRS is a useful indicator of public consent, an important factor in strategic decision-making. Other data sources are given in the short list of inputs. Consent coefficients, numerical feedback indicating victory status. Psychological basis, when the government is able to collect tax and seize private property without just compensation, it is an indication that the public is ripe for surrender and is consenting to enslavement and legal encroachment. A good and easily quantified indicator of harvest time is the number of public citizens who pay income tax, despite an obvious lack of reciprocal or honest service from the government. Laura Knight Jacek. The Secret History of the World and How to Get Out Alive. While we all might like to think we can transform our world by praying and or thinking positively, we must remember that there is a great deal.
And that's when I realized that in the Matrix, when Morpheus holds up the battery and he says, "We are the energy." And when I first saw the Matrix, I had no idea what he was talking about. I now have a much better idea what Morpheus was saying. What we energy for at this stage is open to interpretation. But what I do know, more than anything I've ever held dear, is that everything we've been taught is a lie.
Don't let them control it. They will indoctrinate you. Don't believe their lies. It's all bullshit. Everything you believe is a lie. Melody is controlled by your belief. Open your mind. They will indoctrinate you. Don't believe their lies. It's all bullshit.
Sudo se budo se naranjana se samsara maya pariya jete se samsara svavanam jaja mohad nidram na janma mrityor trisat svarupi Sudo se budo se naranjana se samsara maya pariya jete se samsara svavanam jaja mohad nidram na janma mrityor trisat svarupi Sudo se budo se naranjana se samsara maya pariya jete se samsara svavanam jaja mohad nidram na janma mrityor trisat svarupi Sudo se budo se naranjana se samsara maya pariya jete se samsara svavanam jaja mohad nidram na janma mrityor trisat svarupi You are forever pure, you are forever true, and the dream of this world can never touch you. So give up your attachment and give up your confusion and fly to that space that's beyond all illusion. You are forever pure, you are forever true, and the dream of this world can never touch you. So give up your attachment and give up your confusion and fly to that space that's beyond all illusion. You are forever pure, you are forever true, and the dream of this world can never touch you. So give up your attachment and give up your confusion and fly to that space that's beyond all illusion. You are forever pure, you are forever true, and the dream of this world can never touch you. So give up your attachment and give up your confusion and fly to that space that's beyond all illusion. Sudo se budo se naranjana se samsara maya pariya jete se samsara svavanam jaja mohad nidram na janma mrityor trisat svarupi Sudo se budo se naranjana se samsara Samsaramaya Pariyajitesi Samsara Swapanam Jajamohat Nidram Najanma Mrityor Trisat Svarupi Sudosi Budosi Naranjanasi Samsaramaya Pariyajitesi Samsara Swapanam Jajamohat Nidram Najanma Mrityor Trisat Svarupi.
Are you in search of guidance and clarity in your life? Look no further than psychic Sister Dobong. With her innate abilities and extensive experience, Dobong can assist you in navigating through life's complexities and uncertainties. Whether you are seeking insights on love, career, or personal development, Dobong is here to offer you the wisdom and support you seek. Take advantage of our special offer and call 718-253-7273 during the show for a free question with Sister Dobong. Book a session with psychic Sister Dobong today and take the first step towards living your best life.
A warm greeting to all the listeners tuning in. For those in search of answers or guidance, look no further than Sister Dobong. You can reach her at 718-253-7273 or 631-612-1742 to ask one free question. This exclusive opportunity offers valuable insights into your future. Sister Dobong is ready to address any concerns or uncertainties you may have. Don't miss out on this special offer. Act now before it expires. Contact Sister Dobong at 718-253-7273 or 631-612-1742 to claim your complimentary question today.
Are you a DJ, artist, musician, podcaster, or content creator searching for a platform to showcase your talents? Look no further. Get in touch with Che Bernhardt at che.bernhardt@brooklynstation.com or Zena Bevel at africanreader@aol.com to advertise on our station, become a guest on the show, host your own show, or have your music featured. We offer competitive rates and package deals, including a 70% discount for a 12-month commitment and a loyalty bonus program. Don't miss the chance to appear on the Sister Dobong show in person or remotely by contacting Zena Bevel at 718-253-7273 or Che Bernhardt at 929-694-8741, the manager. Elevate your career with Brooklyn Station today.
During a nonchalant conversation, Don Juan recommended that I collect my significant life events. Disguising this suggestion as a casual idea, this approach was typical of his teaching style, as he subtly conveyed important lessons through everyday discussions. As I delved deeper into his teachings, I discovered that ancient shamans viewed this practice as a means of accessing the dormant energy reserves hidden within ourselves. These reserves of energy buried deep within our beings often become overshadowed by the demands of modern living. By revisiting and reliving these impactful moments, we have the opportunity to reclaim and realign our inner power, ultimately tapping into a wellspring of vitality and strength. Don Juan believed that the accumulation of significant life experiences was crucial for emotional and spiritual development, allowing individuals to better navigate the challenges that lie ahead. Shamans dedicated themselves to maintaining consciousness and purpose even beyond death through rigorous discipline. They viewed the afterlife as a practical realm that reflected our daily lives. This profound shamanic knowledge served as a guide for facing the ultimate journey at the end of life, emphasizing the importance of honesty and full emotional engagement in the process. The greatest enemy that a warrior's face is self-importance, a trait that weakens them by leading to conflicts with others. The main objective for warriors is to rid themselves of this self-importance, thus rendering themselves impervious to harm. Seers can be divided into two categories: those who exercise self-control in order to achieve their goals, and those who battle to overcome their own sense of self-worth. It is crucial for warriors to let go of their ego and concentrate on helping and serving others in order to achieve true invincibility. Warriors engage in the practice of taking strategic inventories, meticulously listing every aspect of their lives and identifying areas that can be altered to conserve energy. They understand that self-importance is the main drag on their energy and make a conscious effort to eliminate it. By releasing this excess energy, they are able to approach the unknown with flawless precision. The Seers of the Conquest devised a comprehensive strategy consisting of 6 vital elements: control, discipline, forbearance, timing, willpower, and the pivotal element of stalking. By embodying these attributes, warriors are able to shed their self-importance and effectively navigate the obstacles and trials they inevitably encounter in their journey. Continuing on, the speaker asserted that possessing 4 key attributes is all one needs in order to effectively handle even the most challenging of petty tyrants. He elaborated by clarifying that these petty tyrants are external adversaries beyond our control, serving as essential catalysts for personal development. Surprisingly, encountering a petty tyrant is viewed as a fortuitous event, providing individuals with a valuable opportunity for growth. Drawing from the teachings of the Seers of the Conquest, a 3-phase approach was developed to confront not only petty tyrants, but also the unknown and unknowable. This unique progression challenges traditional beliefs by emphasizing the importance of first mastering petty tyrants as a preparation for facing even greater adversities in the future. He explained that one of the greatest accomplishments of the Seers of the Conquest was a construct he called the 3-phase progression. By understanding the nature of man, they were able to reach the incontestable conclusion that if Seers can hold their own in facing petty tyrants, they can certainly face the unknown with impunity, and then they can even stand the presence of the unknowable. The average man's reaction is to think that the order of that statement should be reversed. A seer who can hold his own in the face of the unknown can certainly face petty tyrants. But that's not so. What destroyed the superb seers of ancient times was that assumption. We know better now. We know that nothing can temper the spirit of a warrior as much as the challenge of dealing with impossible people in positions of power. Only under those conditions can warriors acquire the sobriety and serenity necessary to stand the pressure of the unknowable. Petty tyrants can be further divided into 4 distinct categories based on their methods of torment. The first type inflicts suffering through brutality and violence, using physical force to assert dominance. The second type relies on creating unbearable apprehension through deviousness, keeping their victims in a constant state of fear and uncertainty. The third type oppresses with sadness, manipulating emotions to control and weaken their target. Finally, the last type torments by provoking anger and making warriors rage, using psychological tactics to inflict conflict and chaos. Each of these categories represents a different approach to tyranny, but all share a common goal of exerting power and control over others. The following section is labeled "Here There Be Monsters. Enter at own risk."
The following is taken from Laura Knight Jagsick's book High Strangeness, pages 177 to 189. One thing to pursue conspiracy theories and to find them and track them and think that there are some very naughty folks here on the big blue marble. It's an altogether different thing, after one has tracked enough of these theories, to come to the realization that they are all just different parts of the same elephant, and that the critter is really thousands of years old. When that fact smacks you in the face, either you run screaming in denial, or you begin to step back from the truly big picture, the global millennial picture, and you see that there is a very stinky rat somewhere. Having arrived at that point, you realize that such a conspiracy could not be created or sustained by human beings, at least not alone. And then you have to face the most difficult task of all, asking yourself who or what could be behind it. Having asked that question, you realize that you simply cannot answer it unless you open your mind to a whole constellation of possibilities that you would formerly never, ever, in your wildest dreams have considered. Then, if you work very, very hard, you may discover the truth that they want you to believe. However, if you continue to work very, very hard and are very, very lucky, you will realize that you need help, and you will seek this help based on the knowledge you have acquired that such help can and does exist, only we generally do not have access to it because we are too easily duped and manipulated, and then you might begin to learn the rules of communicating with higher minds than our own. At such a point, following such an approach, there is some hope of sorting out the mess. But it isn't easy, and it can't be easy. If it was easy, it would have been done hundreds or thousands of years ago, and the world would not be in the state it is in today. Returning now to the disinformation campaign incepted by the secret cult, even if it is true that their goals are negative to humanity, the likelihood is that those negative goals are wrapped in layers of truth about humanity and human history, for a reason. The fact is, if many of the ideas and teachings of such groups about human history prove to be correct, how easy it will be for them to claim that since they are right about those things, they are also right about their political, social, and economic aims. And that is how the most effective disinformation works.
The question then becomes, what kind of strange distortion, what incomprehensible corruption takes place in the minds of human beings, so that they can so completely separate their academic knowledge from what they hear preached at them from the pulpit? What kind of brainwashing can so effectively cause the simplest of facts to be forgotten? How does this happen? It is literally staggering to a logical, intelligent human being that the fairy tale of the Bible, as God's word, has endured so long. There is nothing to which we can compare this in the entire 7,000 years of human history of which we are aware. Calling it all a pack of lies seems rather harsh, but it is increasingly evident that it is certainly intentionally misleading. And, in that case, what shall we call it? How about cointelpro? When researching religious matters, one always comes across prophecy and miracles. It seems that those who are to be kept in fear of the Lord need an unequivocal sign from time to time. Miracles and visions can sway whole armies. We can think of the battle cry "Great is Allah," and the claim of the salvific blood of Christ that was held up as a shield against the Saracens. We should also be reminded of the mandate of Yahweh to utterly destroy just about everybody who wasn't hanging out with Joshua and his gang. Such visions go back into our primeval past. Around 5000 BC, the divine Ishtar was said to have appeared to Enmikar, the ruler of Uruk, telling him to overthrow the city of Aratta. But, at the moment, we are mostly concerned with visions in the context of the Bible, since it is the Bible that underpins the beliefs of a staggering number of human beings on planet Earth at the present time, including their revised forms in the New Age and Human Potential movement, and most particularly George Bush and the gang. That alone should give us pause to consider the company we keep. Additionally, when we step back from the situation, the one thing that we see is that prophecy is at the center of the Judeo-Christian Islamic tradition. The prophets of these religions claim to be in direct contact with the creator of the universe, and this creator seems to have been singularly personal in the sense of having personal traits, whims, likes and dislikes. His prophets are, naturally, privileged messengers, receiving his divine revelations, and these revelations divide mankind into those who believe them and those who don't. Naturally, those who don't are damned depending on who has the upper hand. The Christian religion, and its New Age offshoots, is the chief proponent of the many end-of-the-world scenarios with which we are most familiar. Scenarios about the end times originate mostly in the body of apocalyptic, eschatological writings of the New and Old Testaments. It is in the final book, Revelation, that most striking and symbolic representations about the end of the world are said by many to be depicted. It is a difficult work to comprehend. Probably no other piece of writing in history has been examined more thoroughly and interpreted more widely. It is the end-of-the-world legend, a doomsday tale on moldy bread with virtual reality special effects in abundance. It is the inspirational fountainhead for mad prophets, spittle-spewing pulpit pounders, apocalyptic Enochian magicians, fanatical true believers, grade B movie makers, and knaves and snake oil salesmen of every form and sort. In William Bramley's book, The Gods of Eden, he noted that when we consider history, we can clearly see that the drive of human beings to have peace is as strong, if not stronger, than the drive to have war. But when the issue of war is examined, one realizes that, most often, the trigger for war and related inhumanity to man is that the drive for spiritual freedom is twisted by manipulation. It's easy to look back on history and see where this or that group was misled in their beliefs and thereby fell into errors of thinking that led to the perpetration of unspeakable horrors. We can point to the genocide advocated by the God of the Hebrews, or the religious zeal run amok of the Catholic Church when it instituted the Inquisition. We can see the twisted version of the genetic Superman that led to the Holocaust of World War II. It's easy to discern these errors of the past, because we know more now. Well, isn't that an interesting thing? We know more now. How much more can we learn?
William Bramley also chronicled considerable historical evidence of a relation between the sightings of UFOs and the sudden onslaught of deadly diseases or plagues. We have similar concerns in the present time, which indicates that this is not a new thing, but merely part of a cycle. The Anunnaki have never left, and the Brotherhood of the Serpent is still with us, active and growing stronger by the day. Considering religion as cointelpro, during my reading, I came across a curious remark by the medieval Jewish commentator, Rashi, saying, in effect, that the Genesis narrative was written to justify what we now call genocide. The God of Israel, who gave his people the promised land, had to be unequivocally supreme so that no one, not even the dispossessed, could appeal against his decrees. Point 22. In Umberto Eco's The Search for the Perfect Language, the idea is suggested, though subtly, that the development of the Hebrew Bible, even if there were some ancient texts involved, though not nearly as ancient as most believers suppose, was primarily a promotion to validate Judaism. This validation was necessary in order to then validate Christianity as the one true religion. In other words, the rights of the Jews, the unappealable decrees of Jehovah Yahweh, could be inherited by the Christian Church, as instituted for political reasons by Constantine. What we finally observe about Christianity can be summed up by saying that it is clear that it was taken over by a sort of COINTELPRO to be used as a control system. The Egyptian religion became the model of Christianity, and the Stargate conspiracy, substituting essentially synarchic ideas for the original Christianity, was a great success. It has been used to kill more people than any other ideology in recorded history. It is, as it happens, the foundation of the Bush-Reich agenda agents of the apocalypse. Christianity, and other monotheistic religions, are basically draconian. They are the well from which much in our society, our mores, ethics, judgments, etc., is drawn. It has been the justification for the greatest series of bloodbaths in recorded history. Could there be a reason for this? Simultaneously, there are those that claim there is a gradual revelation plan going on via the government and its space program, juxtaposed against a big push by George Bush and the fundamentalists of both Christian and Zionist tendencies to institute a one-world government. So, we have a right to ask, what the heck is really going on? What does it mean when Christian fundamentalists talk about the New Jerusalem when, in point of fact, the evidences shows that anything and everything that had to do with the old Jerusalem was lies and disinformation swirling around that crafty Yahweh or Jehovah guy with control issues? The reality seems to be that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam were specifically designed and created just to produce a particular situation that is desirable to someone at a certain point in time, and again, we see the same operation being run on humanity in the present day as the New Age human potential movement. Interestingly, there are ancient texts that refer to this very problem. In the book of Enoch, Jesus is recorded as saying, "From the time when the devil fell from the glory of the Father, and lost his own glory, he sat upon the clouds, and sent his ministers, even angels flaming with fire, unto men from Adam even unto Henoch his servant." And he, the devil, raised up Henoch upon the firmament, and showed him his Godhead, and commanded pen, and ink to be given him. And he sat down, and wrote 67 books. And in the devil commanded that he should take them to the earth, and deliver them unto his sons. And Henoch let his books down upon the earth, and delivered them unto his sons, and began to teach them to perform the custom of sacrifice, and unrighteous mysteries, and so did he hide the kingdom of heaven from men. And in the devil said unto them, Behold that I am your God, and beside me is none other God. And therefore did my Father send me, Jesus, into the world, that I might make it known unto men, that they might know the evil device of the devil. Let me repeat that part again. And Henoch let his books down upon the earth, and delivered them unto his sons, and began to teach them to perform the custom of sacrifice, and unrighteous mysteries, and so did he hide the kingdom of heaven from men. And he said unto them, Behold that I am your God, and beside me is none other God. This is the God of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the devil.
In a general sense, to almost everyone, including yours truly, the very idea of time traveling, mind marauding, hyperdimensional beings with full powers to create and maintain a reality of illusion and restriction in which we are confined like sheep, waiting daily to see which of our number will be taken for their wool, skins, or flesh, is so horrifying a concept that accepting it as a real possibility is tantamount to being stripped of all hopes, dreams, and comfort. Like many of you, I began this work full of frustration with teachings that don't work or don't make sense when compared with honest observation of reality and experience. There was such a labyrinth of contradictions everywhere I searched, and I knew it was necessary to go beyond everything hitherto known or tried. I did have the idea that this knowledge had been available in ancient times, judging by the evidence of the megaliths and other incomprehensible structures all over the globe, but whether or not it would be possible to rediscover this path was uncertain. It was very clear that there was a serious discrepancy between the observable reality and some deeper reality from which, presumably, ours derives something of its form and structure, but I knew there was something that separated us from them. And again, when searching for answers, it always ended in a maze of insupportable assumptions and irreconcilable facts. But when the Cassiopeians began to communicate, to say things that did explain the problems I was finding in science, religions, and philosophies, and those things they told us were not part of my expectations, I became furious and railed at such a bleak picture of our existence. I had already gone through some of this process in earlier years while reading Gurdjieff and Ouspensky, but I found that what the Cassiopeians were saying was far more dispiriting than I was prepared to receive. I rejected ideas that suggested our fairy tale beliefs just might be imposed on us to keep us asleep and unaware because I didn't like them either. As time went by and evidence from other sources mounted, I raged at lessons that drove home these points in my personal life, and I have wept oceans for the loss of my innocence. So, believe me when I say to those of you who write to me struggling to grasp this, trying to reason and rationalize some way to hang on to the old, false belief systems, I do understand. But, when all is said and done, I think I wept even more for all the years wasted in stupidity and blindness. After a time, I realized that we are only stupid and blind exactly as long as we need to be stupid and blind, and not 1 second longer. I am enormously grateful for all those experiences because they did teach me in a very deep way. If it is true that humans are being bred and raised like cattle in a global stockyard and fed upon both psychically and sometimes even physically, we have a truly serious situation going on here, to put it mildly. As I have explained before, I have never seen a dracomanoid being except in dreamlike states or almost hypnopompic semisleep states. So, when the Cassiopeians began to talk about them, it was truly Twilight Zone time, in my opinion. I have also stated that, whenever the Cassiopeians have told us anything, I work very hard to discover if there is any form of what I call vertical or lateral corroboration. Vertical data is that which is located in history at any point different from the present. Lateral data consists of collecting reports, witness information, and other data that amounts to circumstantial evidence from the present time. It is always better if the two types of data cross or intersect. But it is still not the same as having a smoking gun. But, when you are dealing with hyperdimensional realities, smoking guns are not very likely to be found. In the case of the idea of man being food for hyperdimensional beings, there is an enormous amount of both vertical and lateral corroboration of all kinds.
So much so that, in fact, it is almost impossible to understand why it is not generally known. Clearly, there have been deliberate efforts to hide this fact. And, the fact that it is hidden may itself tell us something. The point is, when Don Juan and Gurdjieff and the Cassiopeians, and others, tell us that our religions, our social structure, our values, our beliefs about our spiritual nature and condition have been deliberately created to perpetuate the illusion that we are free, that we are, or can be, special and adored children of a loving God, that we are or can be co-creators with God, that we can do anything at all of a positive and powerful nature, we need to carefully examine this issue. But it is work to examine it objectively. It is hard work because it consists of long and difficult self-examination in order to be able to overcome the emotions that prevent us from discovering what illusions we are hanging on to, what illusions are preventing us from seeing and acting in such a way as to become free. And yet, we can see that something is evolving here. With the maturation of the group mind, the stakes get higher and the deceptions deeper. For many centuries, millennia even, simplistic religions and social dynamics were dominant over most of the world. This was possible because even when there was an intrusion by one of these hyperdimensional beings into our reality, when they did drop in for dinner, so to speak, it was easy to conceal because of the lack of...
When we sit in our comfortable homes and look at our reality, including that which is outside our windows, we see a stable front, cars pass on the street taking people to and from their homes in their very daily activities. The sun shines, children pass by talking and laughing. Everyone is involved in their life in an immediate and identified way, believing that this life they are involved in is what is. But, once in a while, something bizarre happens to someone, and they struggle to deal with this anomaly in the space/time continuum. Usually, it is sufficiently minor that they can damp it and forget about it, which they must because it is too aberrant in the normal accepted course of events. It must be shoved under the rug and hidden. Once in a while, bigger things happen in the reality, evidence of the hyperdimensional control system intrudes, or the screen breaks down in some way, and it becomes news and gets reported. Charles Fort spent many years collecting these types of things from the newspapers and magazines all over the world. When this happens, the accepted belief system hurries to damp down the item so that everyone can go along in their respective and collective illusions. And, since the events are localized, it is easy to cover it up. And, in the past, this was a lot easier than it is today. When you read the collected information of Charles Fort, you see that the alien reality that is so widely reported today was just as active then as it is now. In fact, you see that it may even be somewhat cyclical. Just as we have cycles of food production, planting, growing and harvesting, so may hyperdimensional beings harvest us according to some seasonal rule. But, in any event, in the past it was a lot easier to keep the lid on the matter. But then, people began to become literate. Books and papers and magazines were published and distributed. Travel became easier and information from around the world about these odd intrusions into our reality could be collected, giving an overall pattern that something was not right. Before Charles Fort, there were some few people who already smelled a rat. But, Mr. Fort kindly shoved it right under our noses and the reaction has been quite interesting. The cover-up machine went into full operation through the most effective vectors of mainstream science and religion. But, the rat had been smelled and some people couldn't just shove it back under the rug. The stench kept wafting in the window that had been opened. And so, certain people began to start searching for the source of this stinky rat. They began to gather knowledge and information. We can even note how the cover-up machine began to do this damage control. When you study the history of social and religious movement and change, you can see the control mechanism morphing with every discovery or realization made by human beings. As they outgrew the old religions, the simplistic explanations, new religions were put in place. At exactly the right time, the period of scientific expansion and growing knowledge of the nature of reality which brought the old religious views into serious question, the whole spiritualist movement began, leading to channeled information that was designed to patch up the holes in the control net. Newer and more elaborate explanations of the higher realms came into our reality, and, with each new question, the control system had a new answer to help everybody calm down, relax, and stop asking questions. At the present time, this is even more amazingly evident. A few years ago, when we first began sharing the Cassiopeian information, many of the issues we dealt with were not even addressed by these other sources. But, with everything we release, the other side brings some new candidate forward with new explanations to patch the holes we are tearing in the fabric of reality. The story of the reality of spirit, of the play of forces that exist as a subtext to the lives of all human beings, can be told as a journey toward knowledge and understanding. My search for the existence of truth about our reality forced me to recognize the validity of perceptions beyond those of materialism. I learned to challenge my own beliefs and suffer the agony of surrendering my own dearly held reality constructs. I suspected something was wrong with the facts of life as they were presented to me when I was a kid. Sure, I then spent a little over 30 years trying to be normal and make that square peg fit the round hole, looking for a reason to believe. But then there was a memorable day when I finally grew up and admitted that maybe, just maybe, the emperor was naked. And here it is, over 20 years later, and now. Well, now I know that not only is something rotten in Denmark, I also know there is a dead elephant in the middle of the collective global living room, and I can never not see it again.
Believe nothing that you hear.
Believe nothing that you hear.
What you say, believe nothing that you hear. Believe nothing that you
At the present time, there is a veritable frenzy of publishing books claiming to reveal the greatest secrets of all time. Many of these books focus on Egyptian secrets, technology, and religion, all supporting a certain derivation of mysteries. Lynn Picknett and Clive Prince's book, The Stargate Conspiracy, gives an overview of this trend, highlighting the mysterious shaping of humanity's thinking through books, movies, and cultural themes. The central theme of this conspiracy involves the manipulation of beliefs about the origins and history of human civilization, particularly the existence of an advanced ancient civilization and its influence on early civilizations like Egypt. It is important to note that beliefs about human civilization's origins and history can be influenced and manipulated. For millennia, there have been efforts to keep humanity in the dark. This is often done consciously and deliberately, as seen in remarks by Cornelius Tacitus about the Roman rule in Britain. Agricola, during a winter, focused on beneficial projects to promote peace and civilization among the scattered and uncivilized people. He supported the construction of temples, public spaces, and homes, encouraged education in the liberal arts, and praised those who excelled. His efforts led to a newfound appreciation for the Latin language and Roman culture in Britain, displacing earlier disdain. The influence of Agricola's policies brought about a shift in cultural preferences towards Roman customs and attire, with the toga becoming fashionable.
Elegant banquets enticed the Britons, who viewed them as symbols of civilization, failing to see that they were actually tools of enslavement. This manipulation of perception has persisted over time, with influential individuals promoting their own agendas disguised as progress. Analysis of the personal writings of historical figures exposes how advancements were frequently forced upon communities to maintain control and stifle opposing viewpoints. This pattern of manipulation continues to shape our world today, often in ways that go unnoticed by the general population. Are you a DJ, artist, musician, podcaster, or content creator searching for a platform to showcase your talents? Look no further. Get in touch with Che Bernhardt at che.bernhardt@brooklynstation.com or Zena Bevel at africanreader@aol.com to advertise on our station, become a guest on the show, host your own show, or have your music featured. We offer competitive rates and package deals, including a 70% discount for a 12-month commitment and a loyalty bonus program. Don't miss the chance to appear on the Sister Dobong Show in person or remotely by contacting Zena Bevel at 718-253-7273 or Che Bernhardt at 929-694-8741, the manager. Elevate your career with Brooklyn Station today.
A warm greeting to all the listeners tuning in. For those in search of answers or guidance, look no further than Sister Dobong. You can reach her at 718-253-7273 or 631-612-1742 to ask one free question. This exclusive opportunity offers valuable insights into your future. Sister Dobong is ready to address any concerns or uncertainties you may have. Don't miss out on this special offer. Act now before it expires. Contact Sister Dobong at 718-253-7273 or 631-612-1742 to claim your complimentary question today.
Are you in search of guidance and clarity in your life? Look no further than psychic Sister Dobong. With her innate abilities and extensive experience, Dobong can assist you in navigating through life's complexities and uncertainties. Whether you are seeking insights on love, career, or personal development, Dobong is here to offer you the wisdom and support you seek. Take advantage of our special offer and call 718-253-7273 during the show for a free question with Sister Dobong. Book a session with psychic Sister Dobong today and take the first step towards living your best life.
When we are born into something, it seems normal, no matter how specifically weird it is. Just like Plato's allegory of the cave, those who are chained simply believe that the shadows on the wall are the entire world. It is not until they are brought to the surface to see clearly that they have an awakening of what reality truly is. Like those born in Plato's cave, we are born into a society that seems like it is supposed to be this way. But what if it isn't supposed to be this way? And in fact, what if it is a giant trick or an agenda against us? More importantly, how do we grow eyes to see something that we have been programmed not to see? How do we grow eyes to see something that is so close to our face that we can't seem to focus on it? And why is this problem so close that we can't focus on it? Well, the reason it's so close is because that thing is us. We have to ask ourselves, what effect can this society have on our psyche and the self and our persona when it comes to our place in the world? And what would it take to be able to see something that we are indeed blind to?
It gets weirder and weirder. But the ruins weren't dwellings or houses, so what were the ruins for? We know from cymatic patterns what shapes of sound look like, and I think it's very obvious by now what the ruins were for. For those of you that have not seen this yet, to remind you what sound manifests, how sound manifests physical form. Every sound frequency has its very own specific shape. What you're looking at here is just a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional effect. So this is actually happening in 3D. Moving away, creating these beautiful shapes and patterns. Prime resonance frequency, that's what it's all about. Every frequency has a very specific shape or cymatic pattern. And as you can see, the higher the frequency, the more complex the shape. The lower the frequency, the larger the shape. I'm always amazed how many people have not yet seen this. You know, I assume by now that everybody must know this, but there are always a large number of people that have never seen this. and just keeps going up and up and up. And just because you can't hear the frequency anymore doesn't mean it's going to stop. It keeps going above and below. And you'll see below in a little while how low it can actually go, how low we have detected cymatic patterns. Always beautiful. So, what the stone circles are just cymatic patterns representing the shape of the sound coming out of the ground at that specific place. That's it. So what these ancients knew, or the Anunnaki knew at this stage, I believe the Anunnaki were the ones that built all these, is they knew how to identify the shape of the sound frequency coming out at that specific place, and they placed the rocks on the shape of the cymatic pattern of the sound, in which case they basically amplified those sound frequencies. So they created an amplification structure. So cymatic patterns, that's why each stone circle is completely unique, none are ever the same, and this is why we started measuring very powerful frequencies in the gigahertz, sound frequencies coming out of the walls, and electromagnetic fields coming out of the walls, from 400 megahertz all the way up to 1800 megahertz at Adam's calendar. It is quite spectacular. Adam's calendar is a mystery, because the stone circles we can figure out, and we can understand how they amplify the sound frequencies because of the stones and the walls and the quartz. So it's the quartz in the rocks, in the stones, in the walls that do the vibration and the amplification. And the sound moves, and the moving sound then creates magnetic fields, and the moving magnetic fields create the electromagnetic fields. So, but Adam's calendar has got no walls. And yet it is infinitely more powerful than any of the stone circles. So something else is going on there. There's another mechanism at work there. And there we measured way beyond 375 gigahertz. The guy that was measuring it said he couldn't measure it any higher, but it indicates that it goes a lot higher than that. And then 1700 megahertz electromagnetic field running horizontally, and another one running vertically out of it. So we definitely have the indication of a toroidal field there. A toroidal vortex field that's being generated at Adam's calendar itself. And we have these weird flower-shaped ruins that actually are magnetrons, giant magnetrons built out of quartz. And I asked two magnetron scientists, how much energy would a magnetron 40 or 50 meters in diameter generate built out of pure quartz? And the answer was more than all the power plants on Earth today. So, whether that's accurate or not, I don't know. The point is we have thousands of these magnetron-type structures built out of quartz, all connected to each other into that giant grid, creating this huge energy grid of stone circles, magnetrons, generating insane amounts of energy, pulling it together and doing something. And that's the question. What were they using all that energy for? It couldn't have just been gold mining. I guess some of it was used for gold mining, but I'm now starting to think that they were possibly manipulating the weather, geoengineering, creating a climate, creating oxygen, putting more oxygen into the atmosphere, something like that, because this is such a gigantic initiative, such a gigantic scale infrastructure that they created. It had to be something to do, it had to have something to do with much more than just mining gold. And you'll see as we go into the magnetics and understanding magnetism and how these are connected to magnetic fields, how that could have also been used to possibly create oxygen out of sucking up water from the rivers, because many of the channels from the stone circles actually run and they end up in the river. They just run and end in the river. And this has puzzled me for years and years. But now I'm starting to figure out different aspects of this. In your mind, the more information you get, obviously, the more the different your conclusions are that you reach. So the stone circles are not the only ancient energy generating devices. It seems that to me that most ancient sites are actually energy generating devices, and we need to remind ourselves that they're made of stones, and especially the stone circles are made of stones that ring like bells. And these stones have high crystal content, and crystal content means quartz, quartzite, crystal, silica. This is all materials that conduct sound and conduct light. This is all the stuff that we use in the most advanced silicon-based technology today. And we also need to remind ourselves that digital data can be stored in crystals, in quartz crystals. But obviously that's not being used in the technology world today, because otherwise they just give the game away. Once we can start storing digital data in our crystals, then the whole, you don't have to go and buy the crappy storage devices anymore, because you get one crystal and thank you for life. It's virtually infinite amount of information in there. So what we need to start doing is looking at stones as living, conscious entities, organisms. They store knowledge and information. They conduct sound and light. They have essence and consciousness imbued in them. Rocks are not just inanimate objects, and this is why ancient cultures and these guys in the ancient times used stone in its original form. They didn't have to extract the active ingredient to put it into a crappy little flashy box to sell it to somebody, because they didn't have money. They didn't do this as commercial entity or commercial enterprise. They were doing this to help themselves on a planet they were trying to make habitable for themselves. So they used rock in its original shape and for everything they needed to use it for. So all these ancient structures built from rock are just giant machines, and using the quartz and the crystal and the silica inside the way that it should be used, as resonators, energy generating devices, using light and sound to activate it. And this is why most of these seem to be aligned to the solstices, equinoxes, movement of the sun, and often movement of the stars. So when the sun comes up over there, and the rays of this rising sun comes down a passage and hits a standing stone down a passage, the light and the sound of the frequency of that light hits the standing stone. It's like hitting enter on a computer. It activates the machine to start doing whatever that machine was constructed to do. And then the sun moves, and on another solstice over there, it comes down a different passage and and the first morning light hits another standing stone, and that machine gets instructions to stop doing what it was doing and do something else. And possibly that's what happens with the movement of the stars as well. When they go down these weird shafts and etc., they activate the light and the sound frequencies of that light, of the starlight and the sunlight and possibly the moonlight, are the activators to switch on these ancient machines. So they built them without having to have human or intelligent intervention, just operated by the movement of the sun, the moon, or the stars. And we know that they're active because photographs like this tell us that they're still active. Obviously, we know this from the stone circles in South Africa. We've measured many of them. The sound frequencies are insane. Even Stonehenge, the beautiful concentric properties that have been measured in Stonehenge show us that it's strong acoustic properties that were created by intent, not by accident. And I believe, just like everything else, Stonehenge was a very powerful energy-generating device, a huge, powerful resonator, and much, much older than we can imagine. I was there with Hugh yesterday, and just to confirm what I saw in 2010 when I was there for the first time, and my jaw nearly dropped when I saw the big, tall stone that fell over, the two tall stones, one of them fell over and broke, and I was told over and over again, yes, that stone fell and broke. And I pointed out to the people, look, if that stone fell over and broke and is only a few thousand years old, then that break should be a reasonably clean break, a sharp edge. Well, that's not the case. That break on that stone has erosion that's about half a meter, about, a foot this way and a foot that way. Erosion, I'm sorry, but sarsen stone, a dolerite stone of that hardness will not erode half a meter in a few thousand years. So either they're lying to us about those stones and that stone did not fall and break, or if it is that stone that fell and broke, that Stonehenge is more than 1 million years old. It's just a very old, mysterious place. The geology is not going to lie to us. Our historians will, our geologists will, our archaeologists will lie to us, but the geology is not lying to us. The erosion is there. You can't wish it away. So think about Stonehenge in a very different light. Next time you go there, check out the erosion on that stone. The ancient sites are just basically advanced technology on a gigantic scale. And we've never been able to see it because most of us don't really get images, or we don't see these ancient sites from the air, like the stone circles. When you stand next to it and you walk in these temples in Egypt, it's so overwhelming and so mesmerizing that we don't really see the wood for the trees. But when you start looking at it from the air, everything changes. And when I was there again in 2012, I realized that these obelisks are just like antennae. They ring like bells, like the stones in my museum I've been collecting. They're beautiful. They ring so perfectly. And when you look at these temples in Egypt, they're just too many pillars, not enough space. It's obviously not meant to come and kiss butt of some king or some god and offer food and come there for forgiveness and all. It's just, it's the wrong shape, the wrong size, too many pillars. Why? And when you start looking at it from the air, you realize what it's all about. It's not about worshiping and offering food and that. And you start seeing what's going on. And resonating, vibrating pillars on beautiful platforms, acoustic chambers, and very quickly you realize that these are just templates for gigantic circuit boards, gigantic energy circuit boards on a scale that we could not have imagined. And because they did this in times where money did not restrict what they were trying to achieve. They did what they had to do to either inhabit a planet or survive or create a result that they were looking for. Microprocessors become giant macroprocessors. And this is one of my favorite images. You can just imagine what historians are telling us about the kind of worshiping that used to go in these places here. Oh, yeah, no, those are major places of worship. Really? Yeah. And the pyramid is just a beautiful example of the same thing. It just carries on. And Angkor Wat, I mean, there you got the combination of quartz and water, the two most abundant elements on Earth, that both contain memory, conduct light and sound. Saksai Huaman is another great example of just a circuit board on top of a mountain. This is not a mountaintop fortress, clearly built for other reasons, that was possibly inhabited in more recent times and used by more recent civilizations, just like the stone circles. That some of the most recent civilizations used it. They created doors and entrances in so they could use it for themselves and for their cows or whatever, but not the original architects. That's not what it was built for. Borobudur, Indonesia, I mean, this is just ridiculous. Literally, if you see photographs from right above, it looks like it's alive. It's actually, the photograph looks like it moves when you look at it. And then, obviously, on top of it, it's a dead giveaway. These giant bells with these antennae going up into the sky, and it's always antenna going up into the sky. And it seems that it was human sound that actually held up this weird energy grid that was used to activate these circuit boards, human sound, because you see these perfectly acoustic amphitheaters that are always connected to many of these circuit boards. The Parthenon in Egypt is also an old circuit board. There's your giant thing there, the resonating chamber there, and the rest of the circuit board has already been completely destroyed, and it's connected to the amphitheater here, and there's another smaller amphitheater there, and the amphitheaters are always connected to the circuit board to activate it. You fill that with a bunch of people, you scare them, you get them excited, you make them make a noise, clap their hands, or sing, or fill them with fear, and that energy gets shoved into the circuit board. It activates the circuit board to whatever it's supposed to do. And we got some interesting stuff going on. Here's another example. There's your circuit board connected with a beautiful row of ringing pillars connected to the circuit board here, the amphitheater there. This is a very badly destroyed circuit board, as you can see. And there's another one, old remains of the circuit board up top, the top of the mountain. There's your amphitheater there that was connected to it. And there's another one here in North Africa, in Algeria. Here they put the circuit board, they put the amphitheater right into the heart of the circuit board. It's really badly destroyed. And so it goes. And nothing has changed in 2018. Temples have just become churches, towers, steeples. Who came up with this idea of this giant cone sticking up into the sky? Who was the architect that came up with this? Why do churches and places of worship have to have this architecture? It's because people create sound and energy. You understand how important the sound and energy is, and how these cones at the top of our churches and mosques actually send that sound and convert that sound into a different kind of sound as it sends it up into the sky. And so we start talking about the cone-shaped effects. Our sound is being harvested by cone-shaped roofs. And the business centers in our cities are nothing less than just giant things, resonators up into the sky, resonating the energy of the people and the noise and the phones and the anxiety and the fear. And our city grids are just like giant circuit boards. all connected by channels of energy, just like the stone circles connected by channels of energy that never stop making a noise. We never stop making a noise. Have you ever been out into the country where it's really quiet and you get back into a city? How noisy the cities are? It's insane, actually. It's quite nauseating. And that's when I realized that in the Matrix, when Morpheus holds up the battery and he says, we are the energy. And when I first saw the Matrix, I had no idea what he was talking about. I now have a much better idea what Morpheus was saying. What we energy for at this stage is open to interpretation. But what I do know, more than anything I've ever held dear, is that everything we've been taught is a lie.
I know things now about disillusionment that I didn't used to know. Like disillusionment doesn't always lead to heroism. Sometimes you just adjust and it leads to complacency. I also have children now, and I am beginning to realize that my children are destined to be disillusioned by me one day. So I have a bit more of a stake on the other side. I have a stake in investing in keeping certain truths hidden. So now I'm lucky enough that I can actually keep a lot of truths hidden from my children. I have enough privilege that I can protect them from many, many brutal facts about the world. In fact, they may never know them if not for a good education that will teach them about human history and American history and the institutions that we love and how they're filled with corruption and hypocrisy. And then current events will have to teach them about how our role models are cheaters and our geniuses are jerks. But this will hit us pretty hard nonetheless. Because even though we might learn about it in education, we're actually wired wrong to process this information. When we hear things that are contradictory like this, our brains break, essentially. We hear something about our lives that we've invested in, and we hear that it's misguided, and we experience a moment of panic that psychologists have a name for, cognitive dissonance. And our brains really, really hate this feeling. Our brains will work really, really hard to make that feeling go away. We will deny the information. We will explain it away because we just don't want to feel that. And even things that we really ought to know, we hear other people say, and they sound sort of plausible, and so we repeat them. And that's why biologically we are never going to have a culture that is like really into fact-checking. In the age of the internet, we still have educated people saying, don't go out into the cold or you'll catch a cold. Honestly, people, it's a virus. So you're not going to... Anyway. Not only do we have this biological problem about the truth, but the game is rigged because there are people who are putting information into our culture that they know isn't quite true, but they have a vested interest in us believing it. Like their livelihoods depend on us believing it. People spend a lot of money to keep some illusions in circulation. A lot of the things that we think we take for granted in our society today are actually just really effective commercials. Like this one, boy and girl babies are completely different. Or shiny rocks will really make me happy. Or there is nothing as terrifying as sweat. Or the sugar water in that color can is just infinitely better than the sugar water in the other can. Or my standard of living is more important than my planet. These are sponsored content, right? Now, I don't mean to suggest that this is a new phenomenon. Advertising did not come up with this. People have been sponsoring content since ancient times. You know, keeping beliefs in circulation that would help them get just a little bit more money, a little bit more power. Racism is sponsored content. Sexism is sponsored content. So we have broken brains, and everybody else is saying things that aren't true. And a little help from our sponsors is coming in. So it's really no wonder that as we grow up, we turn off a lot of the knowledge that we might be taking in. For the last couple hundred years, some brave heroes have pulled back the curtain. They have called us out with their brains and their heart and their courage and said, your authority is a myth. Generally, we have said, come back tomorrow. So this plays out usually in history in one of two ways. Sometimes the wizards fight back. The cognitive dissonance kicks in, and we deny and attack and cling more tightly to our power and our illusion. But there's another thing that often happens, which is maybe even more disillusioning, which is that the curtain is pulled back and the next generation accepts it and keeps the lie moving forward.
And a couple weeks ago I did one, and boom. I didn't believe there was this many people that don't have a life on YouTube, but it has like 960,000 views. And I've been blessed. This has happened multiple times over the last couple of years. And then I made a mistake. I actually looked at some of the comments. And this started a couple of years ago. And you're going, well, that's not true. Well, that has to be a robot. Well, that's a bot. Well, that's completely. Well, why is that one written in horrible English? So we actually started a little project in our office a couple months ago, trying to understand what is the foreign infiltration into our ability to communicate in our society. How many bad actors are basically filling up this thing with crap, with things that are completely not true? And it turned out we found academic article after academic article, Microsoft doing huge data analytics, all sorts of things out there that in many ways we're at war. We don't actually understand it, but we have a war going on, and it's a war for hearts and minds. And there are bad actors around this world. The number of data points we have here showing particularly China, Russia, Iran, and it's getting weaponized at a level I don't think any of us are intellectually ready for, because AI is here, the plain language is here, and they're moving off of just your Facebook page or your social media accounts. It is moving into now fake text messages, all sorts of other ways where they're going to try to pollute and take down the West. And we are not the only ones. We have map after map of what China just did to Taiwan. Now, Taiwan actually has built a policy on how to help combat it. They get attacked on social media with fake stuff. They have teams that turn around and say, okay, here's what they said, here's the documents, look it up yourself. I don't think we're ready for this. How do you and I and our brothers and sisters on the left and anyone that actually cares about this country, how do you have honest debates, honest discussions about in my case, I'm fearful of the crushing debt. We're going to walk through that. But other policy things, when you actually lay out facts, you lay out the information of what's going on, and 90 seconds later there's a bot that basically is putting out absolute crap. How do you hold a society together? Well, you can't even agree on the baseline facts to build the debate from, when article after article, and some of these are huge. I brought these are the executive summaries. I mean, some of the ones we've gone through are hundreds of pages of tracking entire troll farms. There's one document here saying that China may be spending multiple billions of dollars in influence operations here in this country to basically distort reality. And the point I'm going at right now, this seems like a weird place to go for a guy that wants to talk about the numbers of what's happening in our government. I'm incredibly frustrated because I do not know how we have an honest debate when we have a disinformation wave coming at us from functionally governments.
Are you a DJ, artist, musician, podcaster, or content creator searching for a platform to showcase your talents? Look no further. Get in touch with Che Bernhardt at che.bernhardt@brooklynstation.com or Zena Bevel at africanreader@aol.com to advertise on our station, become a guest on the show, host your own show, or have your music featured. We offer competitive rates and package deals, including a 70% discount for a 12-month commitment and a loyalty bonus program. Don't miss the chance to appear on the Sister Dobong Show in person or remotely by contacting Zena Bevel at 718-253-7273 or Che Bernhardt at 929-694-8741, the manager. Elevate your career with Brooklyn Station today.
A warm greeting to all the listeners tuning in. For those in search of answers or guidance, look no further than Sister Dobong. You can reach her at 718-253-7273 or 631-612-1742 to ask one free question. This exclusive opportunity offers valuable insights into your future. Sister Dobong is ready to address any concerns or uncertainties you may have. Don't miss out on this special offer. Act now before it expires. Contact Sister Dobong at 718-253-7273 or 631-612-1742 to claim your complimentary question today.
Are you in search of guidance and clarity in your life? Look no further than psychic Sister Dobong. With her innate abilities and extensive experience, Dobong can assist you in navigating through life's complexities and uncertainties. Whether you are seeking insights on love, career, or personal development, Dobong is here to offer you the wisdom and support you seek. Take advantage of our special offer and call 718-253-7273 during the show for a free question with Sister Dobong. Book a session with psychic Sister Dobong today and take the first step towards living your best life.
Shiva Shambho Swayambho Bo Shiva Shambho Swayambho Bo Shiva Shambho Swayambho Bo Shiva Shambho Swayambho Bo Shiva Shambho Swayambho Swayambho
revolution, understand I do not speak of the using force of arms. Almost 60,000 people have died daily for the last 100 years statistically through armed conflict. If that was the solution, we would be in utopia by now. Rather, I speak of a revolution in our minds and our hearts, revolution of the spirit. That is how change is created. You cannot create true peace with war. It is only through a revolutionary awakening of the mind and heart that true change can be made.
Oh my God. It's them. It's the aliens. They're here. They're gonna take over. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's them. It's them. It's the aliens. They're here. They're gonna take over. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's them. It's them. Aliens. They're here. Oh my God. God, it's them.
You wear pajamas, get it in the car, looking up, direction you can go far, nothing where to go, you need to take it slow.
Okay,
bro,
they get on the sidewalk.
You
think that's okay? Check his pulse.
Check his right
Charles,
fucking
check his
now.
pulse. Get back on the sidewalk. The man ain't moved yet, bro. The man ain't moved yet, bro.
Okay,
where?
Minneapolis!
Okay.
Bro,
okay.
you're a bum, bro.
Okay.
You're a bum, bro. You're
Check
definitely
his
a
pulse right
bum,
now.
bro.
Tell me what it is. Tell me what his pulse is right now.
Check his pulse. Bro, he has not moved not one time, bro.
I see that.
Bro, you don't need to help me out, bro. I know your parents, I know everybody at home. You don't need to help me the fuck out, bro. He's not fucking moving right now, bro.
I just saw that, man.
Bro, he was just moving when I walked up here.
I know that.
Came a long way from Kane, we was dealing, got our name out the kitchen, yeah. Long way from Kane, we was dealing, got our name out the kitchen, yeah. Came a long way from Kane, we was dealing, got our name out the kitchen, yeah. Kane, we was dealing, got our name out the kitchen, yeah. Came a long way from Kane, we was dealing, got our name out the kitchen, yeah. Came a long way from
They don't care about you. I didn't got no time. I ain't got no reason to rhyme.
we was dealing, got our name out the kitchen, yeah.
I'm the meaning of decadence.
Came a long way from Kane, we was dealing, got our name out the kitchen, yeah.
They don't care about you. I didn't got no time. Turn it off. Just turn it off. I'm the real thing, not like you two. Just turn it off. Just turn it off. If it don't sound right when you're kicking it, just turn it off. Just turn it off. If it don't feel right when you dig it, turn it off. Just turn it off. Just turn it off. Just turn it off. If it don't sound right when you're digging it.
Borrow jewels, keep playing, I still got army tools, all these goons, and guns stashed in the kitchen, in the laundry room. Why would I acknowledge you? Why? You got a team full of ninja fools with cheap guns and borrowed jewels. Keep playing, I still got army tools, all these goons, and guns stashed in the tools. On guns and guns and guns and guns. You got a team full of ninja fools with cheap guns and borrowed jewels. Keep playing, I still got army tools, all these goons, and guns stashed in the kitchen, in the laundry room. Why would I acknowledge you? Why?
Came a long way from Kane, he was Dylan, got our name out the kitchen, yeah. Came a long way from Kane, he was Dylan, got our name out the kitchen, yeah.